Hello, Commanders, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous Return from Beagle Point. Today's topic of discussion will be trying to come up with engaging content and the thought processes behind some of that stuff. But before we hop into that, we're going to go ahead and welcome all of our new viewers. The purpose of this journey so far has been to increase our exobiology rank to the status of Elite, as well as hopefully make enough money to buy a fleet carrier so we can take our adventures out with all of our ships and everything like that, and maybe bring a few people with us as we go. The cycle of operations that we typically do for this, we'll get into here in a second, but I would like to take a moment to direct you to the GoFundMe link down in the description and also the comment section. Our mother-in-law had her car totaled by a hit-and-run accident, and I'm going to continue bringing it up until we're able to get her a replacement vehicle. She only had liability, only insurance, so insurance will not be coming to the rescue. We have to figure out getting her a car, and she's poor, we're poor. We don't have any means of really making that work, so every little bit helps. Be sure to click that link if you feel like doing a good deed to help her get back on the road so she can, be self-sufficient again. So as we hop into each system, we have a typical cycle of operations that we do. It's kind of repetitive. That's why I typically have a topic of discussion. So we'll hop into the system. We'll pop the discovery scanner to see how many bodies are in that system. Then after that, we'll do a fuel scooping operation. Then we'll hop into the full spectrum system scanner to see if there are any high value planets. And for that, I have arbitrarily just decided that Earth-like worlds, ammonia worlds, and water worlds are the bodies that we're going to be looking for as far as just scanning. And then if there are 15-ish bodies or less in the system, we'll go ahead and do an individual scan of all the bodies. It doesn't seem like that was a scoopable body or scoopable star there, to see if there are any biological signatures on there. And then, if there are, we'll go scan and land and do all that stuff. And if there are not, then we'll just move on. Let's see what's over here. We have some asteroids, I would imagine, yes. And then we have 2 more bodies to find. If you look in the top right corner of the screen, we're looking for biological features, but because they're gas giants, we're definitely not going to find any in this particular system, so I'm not going to waste any more time on that. We'll move on to the next system, and hopefully we'll find something in there. So this is pretty much what we do as far as a gameplay, which is why I try to have something to talk about while we're doing this, so it doesn't get too boring. So as I said, the topic of discussion for today is creating engaging content, and the process that goes into trying to do that. And I say trying because as a very small content creator, I clearly don't have it all figured out quite yet. Trying to figure out what people are going to enjoy, number one, is obviously very difficult to do because, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And there's just so many different people out there, and trying to create something that appeals to the widest possible audience is just, it's something that's kind of hard to do. You want to try to be yourself, right? Because if you put out too much fakery, and you're putting out something that's completely not you, then you'll eventually get discovered, and then everything you built will go away. So it's generally better to try to do your best to be as close to yourself as you can while still putting on the public face of whatever it is that you're doing. But then at the same time, there is a formula somewhere. I don't know what the formula is, or I'd probably be using it. There is a formula that provides a content creator with the highest possible chance of bringing in the highest potential number of people to watch their content and hopefully gain views and viewership and ad revenue, and then grow their channel and have a larger audience and ad revenue and all that stuff, right? So, it obviously all starts with the kind of content that you're choosing to do. And, for me, I really struggle with that aspect of it, which trickles down into everything else, because, I'm a fairly private kind of person. I'm not super active I'm not super animated in the way that I speak, and I don't allow myself to act like a I almost said an inappropriate word there. I was going to say retard, but I don't act like a jackass in public. I'll get angry in private, and that's where I generally try to keep it. But you know, in a public facing setting, especially something like this where I'm supposed to be a professional gamer, you know, I don't want to be like some of these like streamers out there who, you know, put on this show of being a jackass, whether it's they're just losing their temper all the time, or they're treating people with disrespect, or whatever it is that they do. That's not me, and I don't really want to pretend to be that, even though I know that overall I'd probably get a lot more attention if I showed my ass that way. So, you know, it's everything in life is a trade-off, and you know, you can choose to hold to your values, or you can choose to capitulate to the way that, you know, seems to work the best. But as somebody who has a problem with people who scam other people, that's what that feels like to me when you know, obviously I've said in the past, I said in my most recent video that everybody puts on a face when they're out in public. But at the same time, you know, I think we can all agree that there's an acceptable level of, you know, I think there's a difference between reserving parts of yourself that you know or that you don't necessarily want to put out in public versus pretending to be something that you're not, just to get, you know, attention or views or whatever it is that you're doing. I'm not a dramatic person. I have anger management issues, as I've stated in the past. I've broken my fair share of keyboards, especially when I was younger, and you know, that gets expensive, so you stop doing that. But there's a difference between, you know, I lost my train of thought already. There's a difference between being an angry person and being a socially animated person. I don't dance. There's a lot of things that I don't do that I have zero desire to do because I'm a socially awkward kind of person. I don't like hanging out with people. I don't like being around people. I prefer to have a very small circle of people in my life that I have, you know, a reasonable amount of control over when I'm going to be with them and how I'm going to be around them. That's just the kind of person that I am. And that puts me at a disadvantage when it comes to being online, because that's the kind of stuff that gets people's attention. Now, obviously, there's always an audience for just about any kind of content creation. But if you're going to look at the numbers and you look around at, you know, what's the most popular stuff, it's going to be the people, the highest audience counts are going to be for a few different things. Either A, you're really good at whatever it is that you're doing and people are impressed by that. B, you're very attractive and people just want to stare at you because you're very attractive. Or C, you act in a way that makes people either laugh or cringe or whatever visceral response that they get out of watching your content, because you're behaving in a way that is designed to grab attention, whether it's positive attention or negative attention or angry attention or whatever kind of attention that it is. So, you know, as a content creator, I think each of us has to try to figure out the best way to present content in a way that is most genuine based off of the kind of person that we are. And we also just kind of have to accept the fact that, you know, some of us are going to have a glass ceiling on how far we can rise because we don't excel in any of those categories. You know, I'm not exceptionally good at video games. I love playing video games. I've been playing them my whole life. But in general, I don't have the patience to sit down and become hyper good at any one game. And I don't have the raw talent to be able to just step into any game and be able to just be really good at it. So, you know, generally in life, I have been a jack of all trades and master of none. I don't have the patience to sit down and master anything, because I get bored with it. I'm easily bored. I am so easily bored, it's ridiculous. You know, oh, here we go, biological. If you look in the top right corner of the screen, you will see biological 1. We are looking for at least 2, though, and we're definitely going to be skipping icy bodies because all we're ever going to find on those is Vonticula. I'd love to find a high metal content world, as one of my viewers has suggested. Ooh, is that an icy body, or what is that? Okay, icy body. That's going to be another Vonticula. So we're really trying to find as much stratum tectonicus as we can, because that's almost 100 million credits every time we do it. Especially if it's a first footfall, it's 100 million credits. So what I'm trying to say here is that despite people trying to encourage me to say that, you know, they think I'm going to make it, and I appreciate that you believe that, or I at least appreciate that you want to be nice and say that to me. There's certain content creators that just have an advantage over everybody else just because they have the kind of personality that makes them super likable, or they have the kind of personality that makes them super watchable. You know, when you sit down and you're watching a video, you're watching somebody because either A, you like how they present the material, you like what they look like, you like how they behave, you enjoy consuming their content because you know, they behave and act and look in a way that is appealing to you. And certain people have personalities and looks and things like that that just make it very easy for them to attract an audience. Whereas, you know, someone like me, I'm gonna have to work a lot harder at that, and like, don't take that as complaining. I've accepted the fact that that's just the way that it is. But what I'm trying to say is that this video is about, you know, trying to figure out how to do your own content, how to do your content creation, and the thought processes behind that. So I'm explaining to you that knowing that I'm the kind of person and my personality, I feel like I feel like as far as like visual attraction, I feel like I'm maybe somewhere in the middle. I'm by no means ugly, but I'm not exactly great to look at either. So that's why I don't bother with the face cam or anything like that, because I don't think it would add anything to my videos. I did in the past. You can go back and see. You can go back and see those in the past, the old videos that I did, because I thought I needed one. But realistically, you know, face cam only adds something if you are actually interesting to look at, and then I'm kind of boring. So the point I'm laboring towards here by saying all of that is just, you have to know yourself enough to do a couple of things. First and foremost, you have to know yourself enough to know what kind of content you need to be trying to create based off of who you are as a person. And then also, you know, be honest enough with yourself to be okay with the fact that, you know, there is a limit to where you're going to be able to go based off of what you have to offer the content creation space, or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. You know, that doesn't mean give up hope that you can make it somehow, but just know that you can make it, but you're going to have to work a lot harder to get there than some other people. And I say that because, you know, there are channels that are younger than mine, who have fewer videos than mine, that have way more subscribers than I do, and way more views, and is clearly way more successful than I am. And it's because the way that they present things, and the kind of personality that they have, and you know, and I say that because the kind of content that they're producing is very similar to what I'm producing. It's just that they have the kind of personality that attracts a lot more people than what mine does. You know, and I don't blame them for that. That's just, it's the way that it is. We live in a world of finite resources, and some people have more of an advantage than others, and that's just kind of the way that it goes. And you can either whine about it, or you can accept it and get to work and try to carve out as much of a piece of the carve out as many of those resources for yourself as you can. So, you know, I'm trying to stop every time I say something negative like that, because I know that for some people that's going to sound like I'm whining about it, and it's like, no, I just accept that that's how it is. That, you know, some of us are going to have to fight more, and the faster you come to accept the fact that it's harder for you than it is for somebody else, and okay, here we go with biological again. We have one there, but we really want to find at least two. Or actually, I think that was an icy body. The faster you come to accept that you're just going to have to bust your ass more than other people to get what you want, I think the less frustrated and unhappy you're going to be. So, I know I kind of went off on a tangent there, but the main point of that section of what I'm talking about when it comes to content creation is just know yourself. Know yourself enough to know that you're not going to be able to create content in a way that is the same as maybe some other people would do, because you don't have the kind of personality to carry that kind of content. So there's that. Obviously, you know, being able to create content in a way that A, matches your personality, and then B, is hopefully engaging enough that enough people want to watch it to support a channel to make it something that you could do, you know, you could pursue seriously. So just knowing yourself. And then, you know, there's another side of it that's just, you know, marketing yourself and figuring out the different things that you have to do to try to get people to even click on your video in the first place. And I think really that's probably where I struggle the most. I realize that, especially for these videos that I do, I talk in a very articulate way, and I talk about things that people are generally interested in, I think, based off of the fact that enough people watch the content long enough for it to matter, for it to show that people are engaged with the topic of discussion or whatever it is that I'm doing. I know from past experience that I have a very good speaking voice, and I'm able to put thoughts and stuff together in a way extemporaneously that is very effective. Partially because I spend a lot of time in the Marine Corps doing public presentations, and then I think mostly it's because, oh, here we go, but it's an icy body. I think we'll skip that one. It's almost entirely due to the fact that I spent a lot of time in the Marine Corps, as a leader of Marines, doing all kinds of stuff where I had to do public speaking, both as speaking to Marines about leadership things that I had to take care of, and also the fact that I was a musician and I had to do a lot of public speaking when it came to dealing with people watching our stuff and talking to them about that. So, I have a lot of experience speaking in public, so it's not too difficult for me to hop on a microphone and behind a video game like this and just talk about something for 30 minutes. So, while I believe that the content is engaging enough, my problem is the same problem that I've had my entire life. I hate sales, and I hate doing all of the other things that are required to get a product from making the product to people consuming the product. And when it comes to YouTube, some of the things that you have to do is you have to spend some time coming up with an engaging thumbnail, and you have to spend some time coming up with an engaging title, and you have to spend some time coming up with or making sure that your video description is optimized in a way that makes it more likely for your video to get in front of people. I think that obviously the YouTube thumbnail is going to be by far the most important thing, because obviously people make decisions with their eyes, and if they see this really cool thumbnail that really grabs their attention, they're going to be much more likely to click on it. And I think my apathy towards working on thumbnails is probably the thing that is really inhibiting my channel's growth the most. I'm lazy. By the time I get finished recording a video, and then I'm ready to move on to the other one, and by the time I finish recording all of my videos for the day, I'm at the point where I'm just like, I don't want to sit down and mess with thumbnails, and I don't want to sit down and mess with all of this other stuff, and I don't want to have to sit down and do a bunch of research. That's the other thing. I detest with all of my heart and every fiber of my being, I detest research. I hate having to spend time looking things up. And I think the biggest reason why that is because for most of my career, especially post Marine Corps, the jobs that I worked for, I was the, hey, find me this guy. And oh man, I hated every time somebody sent me an email or asked me a question, or walked into my office to ask me a question or whatever, hey, I need you to find this for me. My natural response was to want to say, F you, find it yourself, you lazy bitch. Especially after the Marine Corps, I spent most of my time doing jobs where I was basically a convenience for other people because I was good at computers. I can type at over 100 words a minute, and so employers really liked me for that because I could take meeting minutes and take notes and things like that very quickly. So obviously that made me an asset. And then also I'm very good with computers, obviously. So I was able to find information very quickly compared to what they would be able to do. And so it's just my attitude about the whole thing was very negative, because I knew that the only reason they really hired me was because it was a convenience for them. They needed somebody who could much more quickly and easily take care of these things that they didn't want to do. And it's kind of hard, at least for me, and I think a lot of people, it's difficult to be enthusiastic about your job when you feel like your job is mostly to do all of the BS things that no one else wants to do. It's very difficult for me to be excited about a job like that. So now we're here and I have my own thing, and that attitude is continuing to plague me because, I should be sitting down and doing a bunch of research and trying to, tweak things on my channel to figure out the best way to get the algorithm and get viewers and all that stuff and grab their attention and do all of these things. But I can't be bothered to do it. By the time I finish recording and doing all that stuff, so it's the same thing with the whole video editing thing. It's a bunch of tedious work that I don't want to do, and I'm always trying to find shortcuts to get around that kind of stuff. You have seen several times in this video calls to action pop up. Those are all automated. I have a plugin in OBS Studio that allows me, that has a timer that has those things pop up every X number of minutes. And, so I figured out how to do... I was originally using video editing software to do that. And, it basically doubled my production time because I was having to render the entire video just to put some graphics on the screen. And I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be a better way. And I found a plugin that allows me to do that. So the purpose of this video has been, to talk about my approach to content creation. Clearly I wouldn't say that it's, the best approach, or maybe even a good approach, because my channel growth is pretty small compared to what I've seen from other channels that do similar content. And part of it is just I'm not willing to put in the extra amount of work required to do what? What am I trying to say here? There's a lot of extra work that goes into making a video outside of just sitting down and recording some gameplay. A lot of people put a lot of time into video editing. Not everybody. Like I said, I'm comparing my channel to another channel that I watch that does something very similar, and it doesn't seem like he puts a lot of time and effort into his video editing, so I know that that's not necessarily a requirement. Obviously, highly edited videos can be much more engaging for an audience, but at the same time, if you have the personality and the ability and the kind of presenting presence to be able to keep people engaged for a certain period of time, then no amount of video editing is really going to enhance that. Video editing only really comes in when you have a lot of different things that you need to cram into a short amount of time, and especially if you're doing content that requires a lot of takes, like you need, or has lots of boring periods or whatever. But for me, I just pause the recording until I come up to something where I know there's going to be something interesting happening. I'm generally intuitive enough with video games in general, but I also just play video games where I know I can do that. Where I can just press the pause button and then, oh, hey, something interesting is about... Oh, I see body. Something interesting. We're actually going to go to that one because we're at the 22-minute mark, and it's time to land. So we'll go ahead and do that since we're landing anyway. I'm generally intuitive enough with video games in general, because I've been playing them for more than 20 years now. I can generally tell when something's about to happen, and I can just pop the recording back on. Or I just make sure I play games where it's easy for me to do that. Now, obviously, with some of my games like Diablo and things like that, I try to pick a game that's fast-paced enough that I don't necessarily need to worry about cuts too much, because there's always something happening in that game. There's always monsters, or you're talking, or something. They did a really good job of keeping things moving. And Path of Exile seems to be pretty similar. We'll see how that game continues, but... Okay, so let's see here. I want to get this one set for Super Cruise Assist, and then we'll get that locked in there like that, and then we'll go and scan that planet, land, and collect some samples. So, I know the point of this video has been mostly just to talk about the process of content creation. As somebody who's been doing this for over a year at this point, consistently, and technically professionally, I'm technically getting paid to do this now, sort of, kind of. Those of you who are channel members, I do appreciate it. You are helping out very much. Ad revenue is slow and will build hopefully over time, but we'll see how that goes. I say professional because, technically once you get paid for something, you're a professional. But realistically, I'm still in that amateur category of trying to build a channel to the point where I can actually do this full time by choice and not just because there's no other options for me. And, you reflect on the things that you're doing and the things that you're not doing. And, you know, you make decisions about those things. And for me, I've just kind of accepted the fact that channel growth for me is going to be very slow, because I'm not willing to spend ridiculous amounts of time doing video editing, and I'm not willing to spend ridiculous amounts of time agonizing over thumbnails and agonizing over titles, and you know, trying to figure out little tips and tricks here and there to get little boosts in my viewership and things like that. Like, because none of that stuff is anything that comes natural to me. Some people are perfectly fine with, you know, oh, I'm not on the screen anymore. Some people are perfectly fine with, you know, they want to make it so bad that they're willing to spend hours and hours and hours trying to manipulate the algorithm in a way that helps them. Or, you know, some people are just lucky and they have the kind of personality that's just so magnetic and so approachable that people just stay and watch once they click on the video, and that helps with their metrics with the algorithm. And it's just the way that it is. You can complain about it, you can whine about it, but none of that's going to help you. It's just the way that it works. You know, we all have we all have the situation that we were born into, and some people got lucky and some of us didn't. And some of us have to figure it out. And so yeah. So when it comes to content creation, my message about the content creation part, if you're interested in doing that kind of a thing, is that you got to spend some time reflecting on yourself and who you are and what it is that I mean, I guess we could just land anywhere. You got to figure out what it is that you're going to be able to do best based off of the abilities that you have available to you. What kind of a personality do you have? What kind of skill set do you have? What kind of how much work are you willing to put into all of the stuff that's outside of, you know, content creation, or outside of actually just recording a video? Some formats are going to be easier to do than others because, you know, some formats just require extensive amounts of video editing. You're just not going to be able to get around it, while others you can almost just straight up record, post it, and be done with it. I generally try to find games that allow me to basically just straight up record, upload, and be done with it. And I try to find tips and tricks and tools and things that help me provide something that looks professional with a minimal amount of work. Because, you know, I'm lazy. See, I don't want to say I'm lazy, because I can get like hyper obsessive over some things. All right, so the entire planet here is supposed to be covered, but at the same time we have, geez, this planet sucks. If there's nothing on this little top over here, I think we're just gonna go ahead. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's get our landing gear down.
Landing gear deployed.
Are we gonna be able to land here? Okay. I forgot. I lost track of what I was saying. Tools and stuff like that. So I'm not... I say I'm lazy, but I'm not lazy, because, you know, if it's something that's important to me and I get super obsessive over it, I'll spend countless hours agonizing over something. But it has to be something that, you know, catches my attention and is, you know, basically interesting for me. And, you know, researching most of the background stuff related to YouTube is just really tedious and boring to me, and I don't want to do it. And that's why I don't, and that's one of the reasons why my channel probably doesn't grow as fast as it potentially could, because I'm not willing to put the amount of time and effort into all the background stuff that you're supposed to do. It would be nice if YouTube could get to the point where, you know, AI is at the point where I can record a video, upload it, and it will do all of that work for me. I imagine that maybe someday they'll get to that point, but probably not fast enough for it to matter for my channel. My channel will probably either grow or not grow way before that happens, and I'll have to make a decision about it at some point. But as far as, you know, the topic of discussion for today, content creation, if you're understand that for most of you, if you're seriously interested in sitting down and making a channel, the first thing you got to do is just get started. It takes, for most people, unless you're just extremely lucky or you have a really, really good personality, it's going to take you a couple of years to build your channel up into something that's, you know, even starting to make money, much less, you know, is able to support you as a job, as a self-employment opportunity. I'm still not anywhere close to that. Like I'm a YouTube partner, quote unquote, but you know, partner in that they're getting ads off of me and giving me very little in return. So, you know, and you also have to be willing to try to figure out different ways of getting your videos out to more and more places. Like I had my videos syndicating over to Rumble, but then YouTube decided to be assholes and remove that function, prevent that function from working. So, and the internet connection, I was fine uploading it twice when I had a really good internet connection, but now I don't, and it's just not feasible for me to upload it twice. I believe there are services that will syndicate your videos out to other platforms, but you have to pay for that, and the channel doesn't pay me enough to pay for subscription services like that yet. So it's kind of a chicken and the egg, or damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. You know, you have to spend money to make money, but then you don't have money to spend to make the money. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's an endless, maddening loop of, you know, you can get there if you can get there, but you have to get there. Like, okay, that's not helpful to me. So, whatever. I think I got my point across. I hope I did. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to click that like button if you did, so that the YouTube algorithm will know and send the video out to as many people as possible. If you're not a subscriber, please consider doing so now, so that when the next video comes out, it will show up in your feed and you will be able to watch it as soon as it becomes available. Channel members get early access to all of my content, so be sure to click that join button. Check out the list of options available there. You will get you will get your name on the screen at the beginning of all of the videos, in addition to other perks, so be sure to click check those out and decide if any of those are right for you. If you're not interested in a channel membership, you can always leave YouTube's version of a tip if you feel so inclined with that thanks button. Direct contributions are greatly appreciated and a critical component to helping to turn this channel into a full-time gig, which is the dream. So again, thank you very much for your time. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to check out the GoFundMe for our mother-in-law's car, and I'll see you for the next one.